Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm going to show you the latest pickup that I got here. Got this from a guy on the Neo Geo forums on the weekend by the name of 68K, also known as Robbie V64. A lot of you guys probably know who that is. Very good guy. Selling an Atari ST, and I picked up the 1040 ST, and pretty excited to get this in actually. I've never had an Atari ST before, always been an Amiga guy and had quite a lot of Amigas over my lifetime, but pretty excited to get this one in. Got this really cheap, and you also, for an extra $10, threw in an extra one, which is like a parts unit. This one's not working and it's missing a whole bunch of parts and it's in pieces, but I thought I'd take both of them off of his hands. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, at the moment I've ordered some cables, and I have a SCART connector and a mouse and coming in from eBay. So at the moment I unfortunately can't show the system off in any fashion, but it all works fine. And once I do get some cables in, I'll show off some games that were pretty good for its day. But like I said, this machine has the Motorola 68000 CPU in it, and it's clocked at 8 megahertz, I believe. And this machine and the Amiga were kind of in a war with each other for about 4 or 5 years. I think the Amiga certainly came out on top, but this is a pretty good machine in its own right, and a lot of games were ported back and forth between the Amiga and the ST at the time. So if you kind of compare gameplay for one particular game on both systems, they pretty much will look identical a lot of the time. The differences will be typically in the sound and things like that. The Amiga obviously had custom chips. The Atari ST did not, at least until the STE came out, which did. But I think at that point, people had already kind of moved on to Super Nintendo and Sega Mega Drive. It was pretty much done and dusted. But in any case, let me kind of show you around the system a little bit here. This is the keyboard. It's quite yellow. Could use a retro bright to clean it up, but I'm not going to do that. The machine itself is in actually very good condition. No kind of scratches or bumps on it at all. It's just got a coat of yellow on it, which obviously is due to age. On the right hand side here, we've got a internal floppy drive, and that was pretty common for these computers in those days to have a built-in floppy drive. It was kind of part of the deal, I guess, which made things quite handy. So when you would buy a computer, it would come out of the box with a floppy drive, and you're pretty much good to go, which is pretty cool. This connector here is the modem connector, or a serial connector, just a standard RS-232. This is a printer connector, standard kind of parallel connector there. And this is interesting. This is a hard drive connector, and this is a proprietary Atari format at the time called, I think it was called ASCII, which is a variant of SCSI, quite similar to SCSI, but it wasn't SCSI. It's Atari's own format, and yeah, you can hook up a hard drive to that if you can actually find one these days. This connector here, it's a DIN connector. This is a floppy drive connector to hook up an external floppy drive. Quite common in those days to have multiple disc games, and you'd put disk 1 into your internal drive and have disk 2 as an external drive, so it would save on disk swapping and things like that. Having 2 disk drives was quite common. Here's your monitor connection, and like I said, I'm kind of waiting on my SCART connector to come in to plug into here. So yeah, this just plugs in, and this is just the power switch on off, and this is the power connector. Now you may notice that the power supply is built into this unit, and that's one of the cool features of the Atari 1040 ST. When they built this, they really wanted to deal with the cable management stuff, and they built in the power supply into the machine. So I guess the idea behind it at the time was you can just carry this machine around anywhere you wanted to, plug in your power and plug in your video, and obviously your mouse, and you're good to go. So it was, I wouldn't say they were thinking that it was a laptop type solution, but it was certainly a fairly mobile type solution. And this machine and all the Atari STs were very good for MIDI and sequencing and music, and On the left here, you can see here are the MIDI ports. You've got your MIDI in and out ports here. That's one area where the ST kind of beat the Amiga, was in the music sequencing department and the software. You could run things like Cubase, very expensive music sequencing software back in those days, and even today it's still quite expensive. But yeah, it kind of ran rings around the Amiga. The Amiga had some pretty good music software, but nothing as good as the ST at the time. And the other two ports, or the other port I want to show you, was underneath here. Here's the controller connectors. This is where your mouse would go and a joystick. So it's quite interesting that they actually put these connectors underneath the unit itself. Thought that was quite interesting that they did that. I'm not really sure what the thought process was there, but as you can tell, you'd have to kind of run two wires underneath here and plug your mouse and joystick underneath there. So you have these kind of wires just coming out, which would look a little bit weird to me, but that's what they decided to go with. So yeah, but very cool unit, and really stoked about actually hooking this up. Can't wait to get my cables in for this, and there's some really cool games for the ST, and once I actually get this baby up and running, I'll probably just do another video and show that off a little bit. But for now, guys, thanks for watching again, and we will catch you next time. Have a good one.